it's a reality that now we can all kind of picture and is terrifyingly close to home. So yeah, it's a world in which like we might all find ourselves in. And so that's what I love about it being 7 years in the future, because all these characters still have their memories of the past. So it's not a whole new world, it's a transition into a new world.
And it's, you know, the world that we're picking up at 7 years in the future, the world they left is this world, exact world. So it grounds the whole thing. It doesn't feel futuristic.
Right,
it feels
yeah.
like these are people from our society who boarded this train to be the last survivors of it. So it's visceral and it's immediate, and we've been talking about this overarching sense of grief and loss that everybody has to deal with in the train. That is about, you know, it's about losing the earth, and it's slipping from our grasp now. So it's nice to have the show be about something important.
Now, with shows like Star Trek and Voyage Beyond the Sea, they were all essentially bottle shows, but they all once in a while got outside. Now, with Snowpiercer, I imagine you're never going to get outside. So is that limiting at all plot-wise?
It's part of the reason we decided we better make the train 1,001 cars long. But you know, in director Bong's film, it had that wonderful sense of what's beyond the next door. You'd open the door and you'd be like, wow, that's on the train. We keep that as well. So we keep a feeling of space and discovery. And I won't say we will never go outside the train.
In dealing with the class issues on the train, do you delve into it all how other issues affect class, gender, race, things like that, or is it just strictly stuff on
I think it's got flavors of all of those things, but the train imposes this class, and it's like the class structure has been imposed across our other, our other sort of like it's been imposed upon our own racism. It's been imposed upon discrimination or against same-sex or LGBTQ stuff. Some of that stuff, it feels like on the train, has been allowed to evolve sort of a little bit beyond where we were. There are certain things that are more acceptable in this world of survival, I think. And as we said a little bit, and your character deals with this a little bit. Yeah.
There's some fluidity that starts to kind of enter the culture of the train. I think in a way that we're seeing in our society now too, is that people, I think already, even us not trapped on a train, we feel kind of confined by a lot of these labels. And so imagine being then on a train, how much even more confining that is. So yeah, my character begins to sort of explore different relationship dynamics, like polyamory and different ideas of what even love means to her in relationships, because she came onto the train married in a very monogamous situation. But anyways, to go back to your question, it's a really diverse cast, and so it's like we see some really great representation that way, but I think kind of like what you're saying as well, it's skewed in this world because it costs so much money for you to get a ticket on this train in the first place, you know? So it's sort of like, it is a microcosm of our society, but you have to think that the majority of the train who bought tickets were wealthy people, and so the tail, this 1%, is really like where we get to see who got kind of left out. But I think, yeah, it's its own world as well, because it has its own politics, the way that the train has now forced everyone right on top of each other.
And first class is an international cast up there. Wealthy people from all over the world bought but they got in as early investor status to get their seats on the train. And then the tail as well. It was a diverse group of people across social classes who invaded the train. It was a random group of people. So that's a society that was diverse from its inception, and has grown together to create their own society from what would have been a diverse slate of people, both politically, class, race, etc.
Is the murder case, or is the murder going to be part of the story the whole season, or is it just the door to open? Is it only to open the door to the rest of the train?
I think that it is that it's a way into this story, but that the mystery of the murder permeates the whole season. Yeah.
You're going into this, coming from a source material, graphic novel, and then the film, turning this into a series now. To what degree, are you looking forward to exploring beyond what has been covered, and is there any pressure to sort of appeal to fans who already love the previous the film and the graphic novels to be true to their?
I don't know. There's now that we're into our second season, it feels good that our world stands on its own 2 feet now. We can tell stories from within our world because we know these characters and the dynamics are really rich now. So it really draws on the movie, and I really leaned on the movie for tone and excitement. And then the graphic novels are tremendous. We're taking some characters, we're taking big philosophical ideas that are in the graphic novels, but the series has now become its own beast, and I think we're pretty happy with that. I think we're proud of that. But I do think it's a very cohesive sort of franchise now, with the novels, with the movie, and with the television. They're very different, but they're very complementary.
Yeah, I hope for fans it'll be just exciting to go deeper into a world they already know and love, because it's the same universe, but a lot of new characters as well. So it's I feel like you just get to dive further into this world.
I took I think it's the third graphic novel. In the preface, the writer wrote to Rochette, the artist who did all of them, to ask what makes a great Snowpiercer story. And I don't have that quote here, but it's essentially it listed the political struggles and upheavals about migration and immigration and the threat of nuclear power, nuclear disaster, and went through all these things. But then it said at its heart, it's a hardcore action-adventure story with the hope of a better world. And that's I think that's the torch that we carry. It's yeah.
There's just one plot point that bugs me because I can't figure it out. The train goes around the world.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you get over the oceans?
I beg your pardon?
I said one plot point that bugs me because I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
The train goes around the world. How do you get over the oceans?
Feat of engineering.
Or are they all frozen?
There's Mr. Wilford's amazing feats of engineering take us across the Bering Sea bridge, and they take us up over the Canadian Arctic to come down to Svalbard and into Norway or those types of
right now?
No. We have a map, believe me. Okay. Yeah, there is a route, and the train passes through numerous environments. We go through the Amazon. We're in mountains. We're in destroyed cities. So the outside environments, these CG environments that are created, make the world pretty cool.
So cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll buy that.
Who are your directors, and how were they chosen?
James Hawes was our producing director. So James was my creative partner for the season. He shot the first block and the last block. So episodes 1 and 2 and episodes 9 and 10. And then we had 3 or 4 other directors take on those other blocks. One of which, Helen Shaver, is someone that I worked with on Orphan Black, and then we had Everardo. We were looking for directors with an interesting vision who dance with the camera and can get cool shots out of tiny narrow sets. Who else was it? Did you have a favorite director?
Everardo was fun because he would play music. He played this like loud classical music in one scene that I don't want to give away, but really added to just this epic atmosphere of trying to build tone in this world. And he seemed to be like really excited by the action stuff. So I think his episode was full of a lot of the revolution. So that was really fun.
We had Fred Toy as well.
Yeah, Fred was really great too.
And Sam.
Yeah, everyone was wonderful, and it's a nice opportunity in TV to get to work with different people and sort of. But James was there for every episode, as was Graham's, just making sure that it's all cohesive.